Okay, now that your mark making sheet is done, your alphabet mark planning, I know mine still isn't done, but you guys get the idea. And you've picked out your quote or your song lyric that you're using, and you have picked out your color scheme that you'll be using, okay? So after those are complete, we are ready to get started with our painting setup. So I'm quickly gonna go over that and then get you guys started with your painting, okay? So I will need my paint tray, the little ice cube that you filled up. You are also going to need your paint palette. If you didn't make one, then you can grab just one of the plastic ones that's over by the sink. You are going to want a water cup, and you are also going to want a palette knife. So if this is a plastic palette knife, it might also just be a plastic fork, plastic knife, which also works fine. You are going to want your brush from your bin. If you need some different sizes of brushes, talk to me and I'll make that happen for you, okay? Then you will also want a couple of paper towels, okay? And quickly before I actually get started with the painting part of this, and you're also gonna need a sloppy copy, okay? Remember, those are from the drying rack. So, the first thing that we are going to do is talk about how to properly mix our colors in our paint tray, okay? So, when we do this, whatever colors that you would like to do, you're going to use your palette knife and mix in your paint tray, okay? So I'm not doing any color mixing in here. This is just to store the clean colors. So I'm gonna start with some of this. Scoop with your palette knife and put it into one of your paint wells. When you're ready to grab a new color, you don't need to rinse it off. Just take your paper towel, wipe it, okay? And then you can come and grab your next color. All right, so that is what you'll do every single time. Helps keep our colors clean, and we'll just make the process easier, okay? So now we do not mix with our brush in here. We're gonna mix with our palette knife, okay? And if you have a lot of colors mixed up at the end of class and you don't want to just rinse, you don't want to throw these colors away, what we will do is I will give you a Ziploc bag and we will just put this paint palette in there. So just talk to me about that. All right, so we mix until we have one nice solid color. And that's why we don't mix with the brush, because it's harder to achieve that, okay? All right, so that'll be my starting color. We'll do some more mixing throughout. So that's your basic procedure there. You also will want a water cup for a couple of different reasons. One might just be to water down your colors. The second is to just kind of help rinse out the colors as well, so you're not constantly going back and forth to the sink, okay? So because I don't want to start out with my painting being entirely a white background, I'm gonna actually use my water to create a nice light wash over top of this, okay? So to do that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move a couple of things. So I'm gonna take my paint palette and I'm actually just gonna drop some water. Okay, then I'm gonna pull this color that I just mixed into it a little bit and mix it. Now, if you want it all to be watered down, you could have just done it right in there, but some of you might not want to do that. Okay, so there's going to be parts of this video that I'm going to speed up for you just so you can see the process a little bit faster. But remember, you're going to be working on this for quite a few days. So this is not a realistic look at how long it will take you, but will kind of get you the idea to get started. Okay, so once I have that mixed, I'm gonna apply a light wash. If you need, this is something that you might need a bigger brush for, okay? So then I'm just going to fill this background in. Okay, so now that this is kind of dry, look, it's a little streaky, but I'm going to be layering over it. a bunch, so it doesn't really matter, okay? So this is where we will continue to do quite a bit of color mixing. So I'm gonna mix up a bunch of colors here, and then I'm gonna get going with the painting process. Okay, so now I have some colors mixed up. You're going to be referring to your alphabet sheet or your sentence that you created. And what I want you to think about doing is overlap, create different layers, and change sizes of things. So it's going to take you a few days to finish it, and that's okay, but this will kind of show you that process. Every once in a while, you'll see that I might dip into my brush to rinse out the color, or if the paint is a little bit dry, like it's streaky, I might use that as well, okay? So I'm gonna start by, so this is what I mean by that. So let's say you just dip your brush in the water to give it a little bit more, just so it's not as streaky, okay? So I'm gonna start writing my sentence. And remember, if there's something that you do not like about this, you just let it dry and then we'll paint over it. Okay, so you might get to a point where you need to start layering some things, but we gotta let our paint dry. So one way you can do that is you just wait, or we can use the blow dryer to expedite this a little bit more. Now that this layer is a little bit dry, I can continue layering over top of it with different colors and patterns. Sometimes you might use directly from here, but as you do this, notice how overlapping it is going to transform your piece. So I'm going to go ahead and speed it up again here. Okay, so as your layers start to dry a little bit more too, and I still need to build this up a little bit more, before you finish, one of the final things that you might want to do is you might want to add in some fine details with a smaller brush, and that could be as simple as making some line marks, excuse me, on top of your designs, kind of making, if some of the stuff looks like it's blending together too much, this might be a way that you can kind of differentiate some of those designs a little bit, okay? And don't be afraid to continue layering over top of your designs, or if, let's say, I want this area to really stand out, might outline it with a little bit of a different color as well, okay? So that is what you will do to finish up your paintings. My example right now is nowhere near being finished, but I think that you can get the idea here to continue building this up, to just start adding in some more details and designs.